In this world of blame and shame, we point fingers, we play the game. But as our children cry in fear, we turn the blind eye, we shed no tears. Believe our women, they say, while our kids are led astray. Lost in darkness, lost in pain, yet their cries fall silent like the rain. It's a shame how far we've come, blaming all the men playing dumb. But our children need us near to wipe their tears and calm their fears. In this land of the free, water's a commodity for you and me. Can't you see? It's not fair, it's plain to see. People struggling to pay for something they need every day. In America where we say we're free, but water shouldn't come at a fee. A shorty just speaking in general about the things that seem so small. This ain't meant towards everyone, just a cry in the dark. In America where water is marked. Brothers and sisters, hear my plea. This is not about you or me. Our kids are the future, they hold the key. Wake up before we're met with defeat. In this world of chaos and strife, we must guide them to a better life. Teach them love, compassion, and light, so they can lead us out of this endless night. Let's unite as one strong force. For our children, let's stay on course. Together we can make a change and secure a better future in exchange. Y'all should have listened the first time they let the cat out the hat. Now it's a crime. Many are falling into a trap, thinking it's a game, but they full of cap. Some are ready and fully strapped, while others keep falling into the gap. The warning signs were clear as day, but some chose not to heed what they say. Now the consequences come to light. Those who ignored are in for a fight. Listen close and learn from this mishap. Don't be caught unaware. Don't fall into the trap. From the wisdom of my elders, I learned women are strong, independent, and firm. But sometimes we need a helping hand to conquer challenges and make a stand. Independence is crucial, that's true. Yet together with a man we can pursue. Respect yourself first and foremost, so others will treat you like the most. Ladies, growing up, remember this advice. You're capable of anything you devise. But partnership and respect go hand in hand. Embrace your strength and make a stand. Memories of the past I couldn't see, now I understand. The wisdom they gave me, respect yourself first. That's the key. To earn respect from others is how it should be. A man's worth measured by how he treats his queen. Love and romance in the air, a beautiful scene. A woman's power to uplift or demean. In her hands lies a man's dream. Lessons learned from an OG so true. In matters of the heart, they know what to do. Love and respect intertwined like glue. In a world where old-fashioned values still ring through. Peter Pan, Peter Pan, Peter Pan was a fairy tale. Now males want to be females without fail. Women want to be a man, it's a twisted tale. Flipping scripts and roles, they set sail. Fighting for roles, turning to moles. Making hits with their agenda goals. Targeting our kids, it takes a toll. To them it's a bliss, to us it's a black hole. They ain't trying to miss, their agenda is the ultimate twist. Infiltrating young minds with their list, but we won't let them persist. I'm with women's rights, but what about men's too? Equality for all, it's long overdue. We want progress, we need to see both sides. Blame and shame won't help us unite. Don't label him a deadbeat without looking in the mirror. Sometimes it takes two to create rupture. Let's have conversations that include everyone. Empathy and understanding, the battles can be won. Men face struggles too, let's not forget. Their mental health matters, let's not neglect. It's time to break down walls and build bridges instead. Together we can strive for equality ahead. You scream for the police every time he come around. They scream child support abuse, playing victim in this town. Enjoy that check, boo, but remember what goes up must come down. The only time he's worthy is when he bails you out the mess you found. You play the game, manipulating hearts without a doubt, but karma's knocking at your door, there's no way out. You point fingers and shift the blame around, but in the end, it's your own chaos that you found. You dance with danger, living on the edge of lies, but the truth will catch up to you, no more disguise. The man you rely on to clean up your mess is so profound, will soon see through your facade and leave you astounded. Using a child as a weapon, it's a shame. A woman who lacks self-respect, I can't acclaim. Real men fighting for what they believe in, never in vain. Standing 10 toes down, bringing awareness to the pain. Respect is earned by how you carry yourself, not by tearing others down for personal wealth. Real men don't back down, they fight with honor and stealth against injustice and falsehoods that threaten our health. Let's uplift each other instead of tearing apart. Supporting one another from the start. Real men stand tall with courage in their heart, fighting for justice and truth, playing their part. Here's for the men who share their truth, never afraid to stand tall in their boots, respecting our women, fighting for what's right, supporting our kids day and night. Real women out there blazing trails, men by their side never looking pale. Rights for all, let's keep the balance true. Men have a voice, let's listen to. In this crazy world where battles are fought, let's remember the men who give it all they've got. Respect to those who speak their stories loud. Together we stand strong and proud. Together we stand, united we'll rise. setting an example for young eyes in every step we take, in every plan, guiding the next generation's hand, leading by actions, not just by words, teaching them to fly like birds, showing love and respect in all we do. For they're always watching, taking cues. Hand in hand, let's pave the way for a better tomorrow, starting today. Our children learn from what they see. Let's show them how great they can be. Hmm. Let's be what our children need. In the shadow. Oh, I don't want you to play. I gotta make sure. Let me make sure the mic is working. All right, my mic is sure. Hey, what up, everybody? Listen, I hope all of y'all is having a blessed and humble day. I hope all of y'all continue to have a blessed and humble afternoon. We was interrupted on part one. I want to welcome y'all to the Writers for Life. Let's talk about it podcast. Today's topic is my bad. Men's rights, women's rights, history of feminism, Candace Owens, and more. All right. So when I was on the live earlier, we covered, a little bit about Mary Woodstow. She is one of the first ladies that, invented the women's rights and much more. So if you want to understand what I'm about to talk about, or what I'm about to show y'all, what I'm about to react to, where my opinions are coming from, I suggest y'all go to the first part of this live. I got interrupted. Like, listen, man, I had some business to do, so I had to pause the live, but it was taking too long, so I had to, end it. Like when money comes, when money calls, I gotta pause this. I don't get paid for this. Like, I love bringing awareness, but that right there is what helps me bring awareness. So like I tell a lot of people, I got one foot into the streets, one foot into politics. And when these people out here that are helping me with my organization, my community, and much more, call like, listen, man, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. Hey, look, everything else pauses. I don't get paid on YouTube. So when the action, the real action is right there at my door, hold on one second, I'll get back to you. So hey, we're right here again, part two. These are open panels. You're more than welcome to come up, talk with a shorty, ask questions, react, whatever it is, your opinion matters. I've told a lot of people before. A lot of people have hopped on a panel, have talked and had conversations. A lot of y'all ideas, a lot of y'all opinions. Me speaking to these politics. Hey, listen, they matter. We just need more people to speak up. But that's a topic for another day. Today, we're going to talk about the history of feminism. I'm going to react to some videos of Candace Owens and much more. I want to know y'all opinions. And I asked a question on the first part of this live, like, do we know what feminism is? Do we know what we're using this word for? Like, do we know what we talk about when we talk about the word feminism? So we did the first live. Shout out. I'm going to see. I set the alarm up for Selena. I got the notification. YouTube doesn't give notification. She said she has a panel today. She's going to be speaking about, I guess, women's rights, men's rights. I got distracted, so it's kind of like I gotta pick right back up. But let me share my screen with y'all real quick, and let's get right on to the topic, right? So I hope that y'all enjoyed my lyrical poem. It goes, perfectly with this. I would like to hear what y'all think. Like, do y'all think that men are losing their rights in this era? Do y'all think that women are overpowering men's rights? Do y'all think that women are misusing the women's rights, what it became, what it was supposed to be about? Because me personally, I feel that a lot of women are going behind the women's rights, right? Talking about, well, I'm a woman, this, and that, but y'all bringing the men that are actually doing this hand in hand with us down. Y'all downplaying them, y'all bashing them, y'all making memes out of them. And basically, when they speak on a story, it doesn't even matter. It's like, I've ever since I've heard this Candace Owens little clip and her going with this little girl, answering this little girl's question. It was a very intelligent question from the young lady that she asked. If y'all missed it, part one, I have it. Make sure y'all go check it out. But we also covered the part where, do men's have rights? I learned today that, let me go to it. Hold on, right over here. So I apologize. No, am I on the right thing? No.
Go back to my StreamYard. I'm showing my own live. Stop that. That's not what I'm supposed to be showing. That's for when I'm chatting. So hold on 1 second. Here we go. I'm about to close that YouTube and just leave my YouTube on the phone so that way I can see the chat and I won't make that mistake again. All right, do I have it right? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. All right, so earlier we was checking this out, and I suggest for a lot of y'all to go check it yourself. Y'all do your own research, go check it out yourselves, right? And I didn't even know that there was, that we have a male version of a feminist. And I was reading it earlier. Like, it's a quick reference, a male counterpart to feminism. Masculus rejects the idea of universal patriarchy, arguing that before feminism, most men were as dispowered as most women. However, in the post-feminist era, they argue that men are in the worst position because of the emphasis of women's rights. But the bill didn't even come about until 1945, and Charles Fourier didn't start the term of women's the feminist until the early 1800s. Then you got I'm coming. Then you got Mary Woodslow that we covered on part 1. She started the movement and made a book on it. So this is crazy. I would love to hear what y'all got to say. Blessings, Vandy, gaming, blessings. How y'all doing? Let me answer the door real quick and I'll come right back. I do apologize. All right, I'm back. I apologize for that. Today's been a real busy day. All right, so I didn't even know that there was a male version of a feminist, but if y'all want, y'all could go, search up the men's rights, the women's rights. I feel as though it should be kept equal, and the women's rights to me wasn't meant for us to sit here and downplay our men. I'm hoping that y'all can hear me, so let me check mine. All right, so y'all can hear me. I just had to make sure that the mic was there. So for those of y'all wondering, I want y'all to go do your own research on that. Like I spoke on it a little bit. Y'all, y'all got my opinion. Y'all know how I feel. But let's go take a look at who's Margaret Sanger now, right? I don't know if a lot of you know who Margaret Sanger is, right? But she is the woman who invented Planned Parenthood. Oh, they removed her name. When was this? In 2020, they removed her name. But she was she was another woman that was a part of the feminist activation. Oh my God, activist group, and basically she came up with Planned Parenthood. But I didn't know they took her name out in 2020. Let's see what they got to say.
Planned Parenthood's largest affiliate is removing founder Margaret Sanger's name from its Manhattan facility over what it calls her racist legacy.
Oh wow.
And what's a surprising admission from the abortion industry, Planned Parenthood of Greater New York is removing founder Margaret Sanger's name from its Manhattan facility.
Yo, it took them that long. They removed it in 2020. This lady became the founder of Planned Parenthood in around 1945 or after? I think she was one of the reasons, right? They passed the law. Oh wow. Let's listen. I'm sorry.
Because of what it called her, quote, harmful connections to the eugenics movement. In a statement released last week, a spokesperson for the affiliate called stripping away Sanger's name both a necessary and overdue step to reckon with our legacy and acknowledge Planned Parenthood's contributions to historical reproductive harm within communities of color. This is the same New York Planned Parenthood affiliate that in June ousted its CEO after an open letter accused her of unfair treatment towards Black staff members, among other abuses. Planned Parenthood has long defended or deflected on its founder's eugenics past. Hear how a video celebrating Planned Parenthood's first 100 years addresses the controversy.
Margaret worked with civil rights leaders, immigrant women, and Black communities, but also aligned herself with eugenicists. It doesn't seem to make sense. But way back in the early 20th century, eugenics was an immensely popular social movement, one with the kind of widespread legitimacy Margaret craved for her own birth control campaign.
It used to be they would simply deny that she was a eugenicist at all. And then the internet happened, and they couldn't deny that anymore.
Oh,
Dr. Angela Franks is a Catholic theologist.
So basically, they found out that she was a racist thanks to the internet. Ain't that some shit? So there's some benefits to the internet. There's some benefits to the Matrix. But damn, man, like, can we start using it for what it's really good for? Like, damn, I know bad and good exists, but people come on this jaunt to just act a fool. Like, let's really bring awareness. Let's do the comedy. Let's do the music. Let's do, like, the game and all that stuff. But damn, man, to come on this jaunt and act a fool and start some beef, that's dumb. That's the dumbest shit ever. But yo, shout out to this lady for speaking on this. I didn't know that they had removed her, but to me, she was still, the person that came up and invented the Planned Parenthood and much more.
Professor and author of Margaret Sanger's Eugenic Legacy. She tells us Sanger and other eugenicists sought to manipulate the human race through selective breeding.
She believed that the world was divided up.
Brainwashing. So she discovered how to use brainwashing, manipulation against us, the human race, huh? See, when I found out about Planned Parenthood, I was against it. Like, I thought that, that they was an organization to help us, females that didn't want to get pregnant, blah, blah, blah. But when I started learning about the methods that they were using, why they came up with them, and much more, I started speaking against it. And I haven't spoke on this for a while. So it's kind of like, damn. It's crazy that if I would have kept on going, I would have found out about Mary Wollstonecraft, like, and that she was the first person that started off with the women's rights and stuff like that. And the reason why she was against it was because her father was beating, her mother, the stuff that she was seeing, and women were considered, kind of like slaves back in that era in the 1800s. So she came up with a way, I guess with advice. I would say like her book is more like to give advice and much more to bring awareness. So she bought that book out and it made her famous. And it was the beginning of, everything. But for those of y'all, I covered it on part 1. If y'all want to see what it's about and much more, y'all more than welcome. These are open panels. Y'all more than welcome to come up, give y'all perspective. Let us shorty know, hey, look, listen, man, I'm learning along with a lot of y'all. I'm not perfect. I'm beyond perfect. I don't know everything. I really don't. A lot of us don't. So for those of y'all that, those that don't know, here's a little history. This is part 2. We got cut off earlier because, I had to deal with some business and stuff like that. So I want to thank those that was rocking out with a shorty on part 1, talking with a shorty. I know that I got my alarm set. I'm definitely going to go check out Selena at 7 o'clock. I know that live is going to be real interesting. Even if I can't participate on the live, I'm definitely going to check it out. But let's finish listening to what she's got to say. Like, what are y'all opinions when it comes to Planned Parenthood, when it comes to women's rights? Do we know the definition of feminist, what it's used for on part 1? I'll let y'all know what I thought about the word feminist and what I used to think about it until I came across a judge that, did my son dirty. Then I had to do my research when I sat here and I called this lady a feminist. Like, I had to learn what it really was because I was saying a word that I just heard other people say. And I thought that it meant what they was telling me that it meant, but it wasn't.
Up into the so-called fit and the so-called unfit, and that she wanted to ensure that the unfit were not going to have children.
Dr. Franks says Sanger's worldview can be summarized by a slogan the Planned Parenthood founder wrote in her journal.
The slogan goes, quality, not quantity. And so for Sanger, eugenics safeguarded that quality side of the equation.
Planned Parenthood is not the only organization grappling with Margaret Sanger's legacy. U.S. Representative Russ Fulcher, a Republican from Idaho, has renewed calls to remove Sanger's bust from the Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery. In a letter to the Secretary of the Smithsonian, the congressman writes, quote, "As our nation struggles to address racial injustice, it is unconscionable that an avowed racist and eugenicist is featured so prominently." Representative Fulcher calls Sanger a bad apple in American history.
She flew under the guise of championing women's health, when in reality, her motives were significantly different.
The Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery has confirmed to EWTN News it moved the bust of Sanger from its Struggle for Justice exhibit to elsewhere in the museum. Christina Bennett is the communications director for the Family Institute of Connecticut. She's also co-chair of Pro-Life Voices for Trump. Christina, welcome back. What's your reaction to this news? Planned Parenthood's largest affiliate will remove Margaret Sanger's name from its Manhattan facility.
I ain't mad that removed her name, because she sat here and made up a whole cause for her personal use. Like, if she had a problem with men and stuff like that, why not just say that instead of using the feminist activist? I mean, the feminist act or the Women's Rights Act for, for women to bring down men, lash on them, bash them down, and stuff like this. Like, come on, man. The crazy part is we're not even bringing down the bad men. We're bringing down the good men. There's a lot of good men out here. And it's crazy is, right, I hear a lot of people bringing Candace Owens down because she says equality for all. I say the same thing, equality for both men and women. Like, the equality for women wasn't bought out for a woman to be, how can I say, tougher than a man or to try to be a man himself. Like, y'all gotta go deep into this research. That's why I showed y'all the video of Mary Wostow. She was the first woman to start off the Women's Rights Act, and it didn't happen until like 1945. So I'm gonna go see who actually made it go through, and we know that it was a man that helped her. Like, we have to do this hand in hand. Like, why bring down the good men? Like, I would love to hear both the opinions of men and women on this topic. And that's why I said I'm definitely, like, I hope my live doesn't go into 7, but I'm ending this drum before 7 because I'm definitely going to try to see what Selena lives is about. I know more people go over there, so shit. Go check her out. Make sure y'all check her out. Don't miss her. She's got great content, great topics, great conversations. Like, I've seen so many people go up on her panel, and it has been nothing but positive vibes.
Thank you for having me. My response is that this is not enough by any means. If they really want to reckon with their racist history, they need to stop targeting communities of color. Planned Parenthood of Greater New York is still performing abortions, and they are still primarily performing abortions for women of color. So it's ridiculous for them to think that they can remove themselves from Margaret Sanger's.
See, I don't believe in abortions. Me, for myself, I wouldn't have an abortion. If I opened up my legs, got pregnant, well, guess what? I'm gonna have to sit here and learn how to deal with this responsibility that I looked for myself. You see where I'm coming from? Like, nobody else made me open my legs. I wanted to. So at the end of the day, once I got pregnant, it became my responsibility. I don't believe in aborting a child. Like, this baby, listen, a fetus has a heartbeat at already a month. And for those of y'all that think that is not true, go do y'all research. You're killing a human inside you. Inside of you, you have a human with a beating heart. Whether it's a fetus or not, man, it's a beating heart.
Legacy when they are killing Black babies every single day at their abortion clinic. It's evil, it's wicked. And
I get it. I understand where this lady's coming from, but hey, it's your body. You choose to do with your body what you choose to. You can't, make somebody keep a baby. A lot of the females don't believe in how can I say, putting them in foster care. Some of them because of what happened to them, the trauma. Some of the babies are made through, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to apologize. I'm not going to say I'm sorry. I apologize for saying this for those of y'all that, don't want to hear it. But listen, the biggest form of women out here getting pregnant is by them either getting raped or by them choosing to. And what's crazy is that a lot of these females, they get raped, right? They don't choose to. And sometimes the baby pays the consequences. And these females, because a lot of women say, oh, you can't, put it into the foster care. I don't know if they're led to because of, what the parents or the grandmoms are saying, or because they're hearing somebody say it. They'll keep the baby and they'll try knowing that they can't try due to some type of mental health issue. And I've seen it. There's a lot of kids, right now in Heaven's Playground. And that's all I'm saying. Like, there's so many ways that we could go about this, but forcing somebody to keep a child that they're not ready to have because they made one mistake in life, or they chose to do it, but they wasn't ready for the consequences behind it. There's so many ways I can go about this, and I'm not bringing nobody down. I'm not trying to bash nobody. I'm just speaking in general. If the shoe fits, wear that itch. Because if it's not your story, it's not about you, it's not true, then you shouldn't get mad. That's why I'm like, yo, listen, man, I'm speaking in general. I don't know nobody. But these are things that I see out here. Like, if you're not capable of keeping this baby, right, and you don't believe in having an abortion, or because somebody around you put in your head, like, hey, you shouldn't have an abortion, this is a sin, this, blah, 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 blah. Keep the baby, but you know that you're not capable of keeping this baby. There's a family out there that really does want this baby. It's crazy to say that when you put a child in foster care, the foster care system ain't shit. That's why I say me, I don't believe in abortions. I don't and I wouldn't put my child in foster care. I would find every way possible to prevent getting pregnant. When I was younger, I was stupid, naive, and ignorant. I'm older now. But it's crazy that you got older women right now, older than me, making the dumbest decisions when it comes to them being pregnant. I'm like, you know you're not ready to have no baby. You wasn't ready then, but out of nowhere, you got this urge of having a baby because you got baby syndrome. There's baby, this woman just had a baby. This woman over here just had a baby. And you just got the urge. And now, boom, you went out and had a baby, but deep down, you didn't want this baby. I'm like, yo, the mind of a woman sometimes is confusing. Real shit. I'm a woman myself seeing that.
And they are living out the mission that Margaret Sanger had, although they say they want to distance themselves from her.
Christina, in reviewing Margaret Sanger's work, she wrote and spoke frequently about population control and considered some people, quote, unfit. What's your reaction to Sanger's eugenic ideology?
Well, I think it's disgusting. I mean, she was talking about people like me. I was someone that was scheduled to be aborted, but thankfully my mom walked out. But she was targeting people like me, people of color, women of color that she felt were like weeds that should be pulled out of the ground. And not only did she push birth control, but she also supported forced sterilizations for.
That's why I said once I found out the true history of Planned Parenthood, I was against it. I don't know how other people feel about it, but me personally, I'm not with it. I've been against it ever since. Like, all these birth controls, I'm not with it. I'm not. Because it's crazy, right? They'll tell you that you put this birth control, you won't get pregnant. Well, with me, it works the opposite. But a doctor won't sit here and tell you that. They won't. They want you to get these, birth controls, pay for this, spend all this money on this stuff, right? But, all right. I was on the double and I had an IUD. Y'all tell me how in the world I still get pregnant. I'm thinking I can get pregnant. Oh, a shorty has an irregular period, right? So now y'all giving me these birth controls that are actually regulating my period now, right? Regulating everything down there, allegedly putting it together, but y'all didn't tell me that it was going to get me pregnant. What it does, what it does to other girls that, to females with regular periods, with a regular menstrual, right? They have no problems with their ovaries, with their insides, or none of that, right? And they can get pregnant. they have, they use the birth controls, they won't get pregnant. Well, guess what? With the females that do got the irregular periods and stuff like that, they got issues with their ovaries and much more. The birth controls actually regulates their menstrual, their cycle, all that. And boom, here comes a baby. The doctors could sit here and break that shit down, but they don't. Why? Because that money, man. I'm woke. I don't know about y'all,
For
but I'm
Black
woke.
women. So I just think that everything that she did, from the Negro Project to wanting to put birth control in the water to supporting forced sterilizations for women of color, it was evil. And unfortunately, today it's still being carried out through Planned Parenthood, whether or not they want to admit it.
Christina, this is the same New York affiliate that recently ousted its CEO after an open letter accused her of racial discrimination, among other abuses like financial misuse. What do you think is going on there?
People are waking up.
I'm not really sure exactly. I think that there are staff members perhaps who understand that racism is wrong and they want to do something about it. And so I see that
People are waking up, lady. I don't know who you are. You're making a great point. But let's be real. People are waking up and they're coming to the realization that we've been lied to our whole lives, manipulated, brainwashed.
are, starting the process by firing this woman and even trying to reckon with their history. But again, it's not enough unless they really do the work of completely removing themselves from the mission and vision of Margaret Sanger, which would mean stopping abortion, stop targeting women of color, and stop killing unborn children, because New York has the highest rates for abortion. We're talking about a place where more Black babies die every single year than are even being born. Their death rate is higher than their birth rate. So perhaps with what's happening across the country, there are staff workers who think, okay, we want to be part of this change. We want to be part of this movement.
That's true. And Philadelphia is right behind New York. Philadelphia is right behind New York when it comes to, the women in the urban community having these abortions. Then they want to sit here and say, right, well, we're having a problem with women getting pregnant in 2024. I don't know if y'all seen that little clip that's going around. Well, we're in North Philly, and guess what? Our little girls, for some reason, are getting pregnant. Like, I don't know what, like they're little pinatas, and you're popping them. Boop, here, this one's having a baby in that corner. That one's having a baby over there. That one's having a baby over there. Like, come on, man. Our biggest fear in Philly is our kids getting shot. Our boys and our men getting shot, killed, or going to jail. And our little girls always ending up pregnant or missing. And guess what? We have to also worry about the boys going missing. Like, what's crazy though, but you don't peep it. Our little girls getting pregnant from the ages of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You got little girls that are out here pregnant and they're 9 years old. Nine. But they're telling us that we're having an issue with the fertility with our women here in the United States. You tell me where, because every time I turn, there's a woman popping a baby right at the welfare office or right at the Social Security office. Y'all tell me where in the United States we're having issues with the fertility with our women. I mean, I'm just asking a simple question.
Movement for racial justice, and I understand that, but it takes more than just lip service. It takes more than just doing shallow things or virtue signaling. It takes real work, and that's going to include primarily separating themselves from abortion, because abortion is the number one cause of death in the Black community, and you cannot stand fully for racial justice and at the same time and the lives of Black children. It's not possible to do both of those things at the same time.
I mean, that's my next question. Does removing Margaret Sanger's name from an abortion facility divorce her vision and legacy from Planned Parenthood's mission right now?
Absolutely not. I mean, they can kill children in their facilities under any name, and the action is still the same. So whether they want to call themselves Planned Parenthood of Greater New York, or or Margaret Sanger, whatever they want to name their building, the action is what matters.
And that's a fact. Like, even if they take her name out, right? It's crazy that they're still following her legacy. They haven't stopped. They still have a belief in what she started. But, right, we know more about Margaret Sanger than we know about Mary Woodrow. Like, why we don't speak more about her? Like, the reason why she started the women's rights was because of the women getting beat. The women didn't have, the women wasn't getting seen equally as the men, and not because they wanted to take over the men's jobs or because they wanted to be men. No, she wanted women and men to get treated equally. She didn't want the men to keep on stomping on the women. She wanted them to get noticed for their skills, for what they were good at, showing that a woman can be independent, right? But I guess she was working hand in hand with men, because by 1945, what she started actually got passed on to a bill. And you know that around that time, it was a man who did it. Women didn't have a lot of rights back then. They really didn't. They were considered just housewives. We've made it so far now to 2024 where women are working. Women are doing so many things. They're getting trades. They're getting noticed. They're getting nominated. We've made it far. So it's kind of like, if y'all gonna drop the name, also drop the legacy. Start something different. But they not.
Lives are being taken every single day, that women are being wounded, that fathers are being wounded, that botched abortions are taking places, that baby body parts are being sold on the market, that women are being lied to about fetal development. All of these things that take place every day under the banner of Planned Parenthood. They can call it whatever they want, but the action remains the same, and it's wrong. It's injustice. It's dehumanization. It's wicked, and it needs to stop.
Christina, the Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery has moved a bust of Margaret Sanger from its Struggle for Justice exhibit to elsewhere in the museum. Would you like to see the Smithsonian take further action there?
No.
I'd like to see it completely removed. There's no point for it to be there. I mean, struggle for justice. Abortion is the greatest human rights injustice of our day and of our time. There should be Margaret Sanger has nothing to do with justice. If anything, it was a false justice movement, because she unfortunately, through the Negro Project, lied to and manipulated and convinced African-American ministers and civil rights leaders to stand with her. But that was because she manipulated them. So if we're going to look at her history, then we have to look at all of it, and we'll realize that this woman did not stand for justice, and there should be no bust of her really in any museum at all.
We just have a brief period here, Christina, just to address, there are serious conversations about race and racial reconciliation happening in our country. Could this be a moment more people's eyes are open to the reality of Sanger and her work?
I hope so. I would say that the one positive from Planned Parenthood of Greater New York changing their name is at least it validates what we've been saying about them for a long time. Pro-lifers have always said that Margaret Sanger was a racist, that she had a Negro Project, that she targeted people of color, and Planned Parenthood and their employees and staff, they've always denied that. They've looked the other way. They've downplayed it. And now we can point to what's happening. We can point to the name change and say, see, this is the reality of what's going on. But again, more has to be done, because they're going to say, oh, well, a lot of people were eugenicists at the time and she partnered with them. And that's not true. She didn't just partner with them. She was leading the way. So even though we can point to what they're doing right now as evidence, we still need to tell people, don't just believe what they're saying. Research it. Read
Absolutely.
Sanger's own writings, because I firmly believe if anyone was to read her own writings, they would be disgusted and appalled.
Christina Bennett with the Family Institute of Connecticut and Pro-Life Voices for Trump. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I mean, in my opinion, she makes a great point, right? I understand where she's coming from, but I feel as though that a woman should have a choice if she wants to keep her child or not. Me, abortion is not the best way to go. I would listen, man. If I ain't want to have my child, I would consider adoption. Find the perfect family, that I feel as though would take care of my child. I know that I can't, and I have to deal with the consequences that come after that. Because believe it or not, when the child gets older, the child's going to want to, know where they come from, who they are. And I'm not saying it to, make anybody feel bad. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, there's consequences to everything. All right. Do I have to go back? Because I know I had another one. Oh, yeah. So we're going to hear an interview with Marcus Sanger. I know I was like, damn, what am I doing? So here's an interview that somebody uploaded on September 12, 2009. And it was an interview with Margaret Sanger, and Mike Wallace did the interview. So let's check it out.
C-SPAN is not federally funded. It's thanks to the cable and satellite companies that provide.
In 1957, pioneering birth control advocate Margaret Sanger appeared on the Mike Wallace interview program and engaged in a wide-ranging discussion from
Blessings, EJ. Blessings, Commander. How you doing again? Yo, my life got cut off early. Well, it didn't get cut off. I had to cut it off because I had to deal with something. I had so many interruptions earlier, but thank y'all for showing a shorty support, popping up, showing some love. Make sure y'all leave y'all links down below so that people can check y'all channels out. And I appreciate y'all support.
The use of birth control to the incidence of divorce.
Oh, and my bad. For y'all to understand this live part 2, y'all have to go back to part 1.
Program runs about 25 minutes.
Good evening. What you're about to witness is an unrehearsed, uncensored interview on the issue of birth control. It will be a free discussion of an adult topic, a topic that we feel merits public examination.
Damn, back then, birth control was considered an adult topic. An adult topic is, now considered. Damn, we've come so far.
The Mike Wallace interview. Tonight, we go after the story of the woman who violated convention and bucked powerful opposition to lead the birth control movement in America. You see her behind me. She's Mrs. Margaret Sanger, who was thrown into jail 8 different times for her efforts. If you're curious to know why Mrs. Sanger has devoted her life to the birth control movement, if you'd like to hear her answer to the charge that birth control is a sin, and if you want to get her...
So basically right here on this interview, she tells the world why she came up with the birth control and the idea of it. But damn, nobody really paid attention to what she was saying back then.
Views on politics, divorce, and God. We'll go after those stories in just a moment. My guests' opinions are not necessarily mine. The stations are my sponsors, Philip Morris Incorporated, but whether you agree or disagree, we feel that none should deny the right of these views to be broadcast. And now to our story. When Mrs. Margaret Sanger opened the first birth control clinic in the United States back in 1916, birth control was a dirty word. The police threw her into jail, as they were to do 7 more times during her crusade, a crusade that still faces the reasoning but unalterable opposition of the Roman Catholic Church. That crusade kept Mrs.
All right, so the bill, the women's rights bill, it wasn't passed until when? 1945. It said earlier. No, 1845. No, it was 1945, I think he said, right? Damn, I gotta go back myself and check the live. Shit. And she came out, what year was this? 19 oh what? Go back.
Sanger opened the first birth control clinic in the United States back in 1916. Birth control.
In 1916. She was not the first woman activist.
Was a dirty word. The police threw her into jail, as they were to do 7 more times during her crusade, a crusade that still faces the reasoning but unalterable opposition of the Roman Catholic Church. That crusade kept Mrs. Sanger away from her children for long periods. It helped to break up her first marriage, and she suffered constant, harrowing social abuse. Mrs. Sanger, in view of all of that, let me ask you this first of all. Why did you do it? I realize that you had an intellectual conviction that birth control was a boon to mankind, but I'm sure that others have that conviction too. And so what I'd like to know is this. What events, what emotions in your life made Margaret Sanger a crusader for birth control?
Well, Mr. Wallace, it's hard to say that any one thing has made one do this or that. I think from the very beginning, I came of a large family. My mother died young, 11 children. That made an impression on me as a child. I was a trained nurse, went among the people. I saw women who asked to have some means whereby they wouldn't have to have another pregnancy too early after the last child, the last abortion, which many of them had. So there's a number of things that are one after the other that really made you feel that you had to do something.
There are some other possible reasons that suggest themselves on reading your biography by Lawrence later. Your mother, as you say, died prematurely after bearing 11 children. She was born a Catholic, was she not?
She was born a Catholic, yes.
And your father was a sort of a village atheist who clashed with church authorities. And because of his atheism, his earnings dwindled under community pressure. You and your brothers and sisters were known as, quote, children of the devil.
Oh, wow.
Could it be then that in part at least you were driven emotionally toward the birth control movement because of antagonism toward the church, because that was a way to fight the church?
No, I don't think I had anything of the kind in mind. I was what I would call a born humanitarian. I don't like to see people suffer. I don't like to see cruelty, even to this day. And in nursing, you see a great deal of cruelty and unnecessary suffering. At that time, there was no opposition as far as the church was concerned, any church. It was mainly the law, the federal law and state laws that one had to think of. The church was not in my mind at all.
Well, in going after your motive then, and I will press you just a little bit more about that and then get to the specifics of this evening. But in your motive, in the movement, is it possible that the movement itself...
Yeah, she raises her eyebrows and she scratches behind her ear. It's like you could tell when she's lying.
The feeling of wanting to do anything that you felt was important, that perhaps that moved you a good deal, because the fact remains that you led a movement against overwhelming pressures that stemmed back for centuries, and in doing so, according to your autobiography, you even left your first husband. And you wrote this to a friend, Mrs. Sanger. You said, "Where is the man to give me what the movement gives in joy and interest and freedom?" Now, what was this joy, this freedom that you craved?
Well, I don't remember that letter, who it was written, but I think that it was not a question of
How she don't remember a letter that she wrote? He was just reading the letter. Like, damn, that shit should have threw her back. Like, oh, okay, I remember that.
Marriage at all. There was a certain satisfaction in doing something that was going to alleviate the sufferings of women in particular. And I was quite a feminist at the time.
Obviously.
And yes, and I naturally didn't want to see women take all the suffering of childbearing and of pregnancies. So it was a pleasure, in a sense, to think that you were striking at an archaic law, which it was. Put it on the statute books by Anthony Comstock some years ago, and no one had stood up against it. No one had tried to change the laws. And at that time, not even a doctor had a right to use the United States mails and common carriers for books, for learning, for anything that he had to do with this question. It was considered obscene. The whole question was considered obscene.
Mrs. Sanger, you have helped to spread the birth control movement not only here in the United States, but in Europe and the Orient as well. Why? Why is birth control of such vital importance internationally? Is it just to save women's suffering? Is that the only reason in your mind?
Yeah,
Well,
why
not
is it?
entirely. The population question is a great concern today, and the rate.
Peep how she said the population. Listen.
Internationally, is it just to save women's suffering? Is that the only reason in your mind?
Well, not entirely. The population question is a great concern today, and the rate at which the births come in to we're saving them now. At one time, when children died, they didn't have the food.
Mm-hmm.
Today, our
population and race, but we're saving them now.
Population all over the world is getting certainly better consideration and better conditions than they had at the time that I was there. I went to every country because I was invited. And I didn't go into the country myself. I was invited to go to Japan and to speak there, have 8 lectures on the question of birth control and peace.
Well, do you believe that birth control is essential if we want to keep millions of people across the world from starving? Is that your thesis?
Say it again.
Do you feel that birth control is essential to keep millions of people across the world from starving?
Well, I think the birth
that could be a way of looking at it, Commander. I ain't even look at it like that.
Control, well, if you keep the population more or less static until you pick up your resources, certainly you'll prevent their starving.
Well, what's more important, birth control or picking up the resources?
Well, picking up the resources, there's just a limit to that, too. There's just so much. Take Japan. And she cannot feed. They've had the best experts come there when MacArthur was there. Mm-hmm. The best experts have said they have 20 million more people than they can feed. She's got to be fed outside in some way. Mm-hmm. She's got to have that kind of help if she's going to keep from fighting.
But certainly around the world there is potential agricultural land that is not being properly used.
Okay, so how about, right, instead of the abortion, you could have like if it was a mistake, a teenager got pregnant and they couldn't feed the baby, they couldn't do this, and they know they can't get on their feet for a good while, right? And they don't want no kids at all. Why not just give it up for adoption? You're saying just kill the baby straight from the womb with a heartbeat. Now they passed a law where you could, I think, kill the baby, oof the baby off this world after I think 3 weeks of having the baby, or 3 months, something like that. Like, shout out to KB because he bought it out on his channel. But I'm still doing my research into that because it's like, damn, after the baby is born, you talking about an abortion? So you're going to tear a baby apart after it's born, after it's out the womb. Like, that's how far y'all have come.
Now, just this past year, on May 21st, the New York Times summarized an important study of the world's food resources made by Professor James Bonner of the California Institute of Technology. Professor Bonner says the world is not using 1 billion acres of potential agricultural land, and he adds that if this land were used and present agricultural land were improved, the entire world could be fed adequately, even if the population increased by 1/3 in the next 50 years.
Oh, Mr. Wallace, you hear so many fantastic things of what can happen, what may happen.
So what makes her theory legit? What makes her theory possible? But that theory that he just read, why is that theory not possible? Why is her way the only way to go? But the guy's given another option, another way, another solution. But his solution ain't worth nothing. It's not worth looking, checking, trying it out.
This and that, I've heard it for the last 30 years anyway, to what could be done, but it's never done. And the thing is, what is it now? What have we got today? A very distinguished woman spoke to me about Arizona. And she said, I wish you wouldn't talk about population. She said, all the population of the United States could be put in one state. And I said, what state? She said, Arizona. I said, did you ever hear of caliche? She didn't know that I was talking about a delicatessen or what. I said, well, caliche is harder than any rock. And it is about 3 inches below the ground, where it looks beautiful. It looks if you could have food. It looks if you could have corn or wheat or cotton. But as a matter of fact, you have to dynamite caliche. out of the ground in order to have a little shrub, have a little grass or a few flowers. So there's many problems that when it comes to that. And the demographers, I never heard of anyone that would agree with that we could have another in the world.
Another third. Well, you say that originally the opposition was in all law, and you have to fight against that. Today, your opposition stems mainly from where? From what source?
Well, I think that the opposition is mainly from the hierarchy of the Roman Catholic Church.
Of the church. Well, now
hierarchy.
Of the hierarchy of the church. You feel that the parishioners themselves, the lay people in the church, are not against birth control.
I feel they come to all of our clinics just the same as their non-Catholics do. Exactly the same.
Well, let's look at the official Catholic position, opposition to birth control.
She said the Catholics in them are not against birth control. They don't even want you to have an abortion. They're against abortion. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but that's what I was brought up knowing. So I don't know. This is something new. I'm learning too. So, hey, if somebody else knows something else that I don't know, let us shorty know.
Control. I read now from a church publication called The Question Box. In forbidding birth control, it says the following. It says the immediate purpose and primary end of marriage is the begetting of children. When the marital relation is so used as to render the fulfillment of its purposes impossible, that is by birth control, it is used unethically and unnaturally. Now, what's wrong with that position?
Well, it's very wrong. It's not normal. It's not, it has the wrong attitude toward marriage, toward love, toward the relationships between men and women.
Well, the natural law, they say, is that, first of all, the primary function of sex in marriage is to beget children. Do you disagree with that?
I disagree with it 100%.
Your feeling is what, then?
My feeling is love and the attraction between men and women. In many cases, the very finest relationship has nothing to do with bearing a child. It's secondary. Many, many times we know that. You see your birth rate, you talk to people who have very happy marriages and they're not having babies every year. Yes, I think that's a celibate attitude. Purely.
A celibate attitude, but you agree that Catholicism, according to the tenets of Catholicism, they...
Right. She's like contradicting herself in this interview throughout the whole interview. How long we've been into this? 11 minutes, 39 seconds. And she's, like, to me, got a lot of hypocrisy in her.
That birth control violates not only the church's position, it isn't the church's position, but they say that it violates a natural law, as I have just explained. Therefore, birth control is a sin, no matter who practices it. Now, the violation of the natural...
That's a good question. Do people view birth control like a free abortion? See, to me, I don't know how others view it, but to me personally, I think birth control, is a free abortion. You know you're going to kill the baby. Like, you're already thinking about it way before. Like, there's females that already got plan B in their pockets. Like, if anything happens, he come in me, boom, 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 I'm set. There's guys that got Uber and what's that other damn the Uber apps, the Uber Eats and stuff. They deliver now from the pharmacy. Like, I've seen guys actually order birth control pills right after they got done with the women. I'm sitting here like, what the fuck? Like, now you order this shit, you don't go to the store? Like, yeah, it's pre-planned. It's a pre-planned abortion. Like, you're already thinking about it just in case the mistake happens. You shouldn't make the mistake. Like, shit. Wrap that shit up or put a chastity belt on. Like, I don't know. Shit, I hear women so much, they want to give head. They like giving head. Shit, give head then. That pleases you. You gonna get pregnant. Don't give up that hoe. Keep it sacred, like Cat Williams says, both of them. If you're a woman. I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out. This shit for real be confusing and crazy though. But I got the link up there. Anybody, wishes to give their opinion and their perspective, y'all more than welcome. But let's get back onto her. But I'm being honest, she confuses me. I feel like she's, contradicting herself. I see so much hypocrisy in her statements and I can't even say her opinions because her opinions are her opinions, but in her statements.
Through law, according, you certainly can take no issue with the natural law as the hierarchy of the Catholic Church regards it.
Well, I certainly do take issue with it. I think it's untrue, and I think it's unnatural.
Man, I'm stuck on how they say it so much to the point that I've asked men. I'm sitting here, I'm like, yo, man, these women talking about they be so happy giving head. Like, is it true? Like, do they not gag? Do they not choke? Do they not like bleh, like throw up afterwards? Like, do they don't get nauseous, sick, something? Like, come on, man. I know the difference between having normal sex, but oral sex, and these women brag about it, man. It's to the point where even old heads here on social media talk about they could take 15 inches down the throat. Like, I want a safe space for my throat every time I hear women like that talk. Like, man, I look at my baby pops and I'm like, please don't ever suggest that to me. Please. My throat is sacred. It's sacred. Let's just keep it normal. Like, let's keep it normal. These old heads got me like, damn, I don't even want to read the Kama Sutra. Is that in there? Like, shit, I know a little bit of it, but I don't even want to know no more of it. The way they act on social media, no. But on some real shit, as much as they talk about it, wouldn't it be safer to just give head? Just give it. Y'all love it so much, give it. Take it. I mean, some of y'all could take 15 to 20 inches. I mean, I don't know if it's true, but shit, go ahead. Y'all like mating with horses, I guess. Be my guest. Half these men say they stallion, so I guess. I don't know what they got, and I don't want to find out either. I'm good. My insides want to be safe. My throat want to be safe. I'm good with the normal size. Shit. No. I'm not saying it. Oh. No, what I'm saying. I know I got retarded people. What I'm saying is, man, fuck that. I don't want a horse. I want a man that, my baby pop got 3 types of high, I guess. It's 3 types of high. He got that dumb hard, that hard, that super hard. I don't know how the fuck y'all want to call it, but I guess it grows to like 3 to 4 sizes. I mean, I gotta make a joke out of this shit, yo, because shit. No, man. What I'm trying to say is, I don't want it small. I don't want it big. I got the perfect size for me. Fuck all that shit. Fuck all that. Like, fuck out of here. They lying. I know females be lying when they say they could take 15 to 20 inches, man. You heard the ones that say they could take 30 inches. Yo, man, sometimes I'll be like, yo, what the fuck? You watching a porno or something and telling me the story of a porno? Cause shit, even them females end up in the ER. I've heard about them. They can't. With the white girl and the blue black guy. Yes, they be in the ERs. With freaking hernias. I'm like, how you get a hernia from sex? With hemorrhoids and all this shit. Throat problems. Some female got her vocal cords knocked off doing a porn video because that's you. Because she was with a man that allegedly, had it bigger than 15 inches. Horse stick. They should be out of pocket, man. Fuck out of here. These females lying. I know they lying. I'm good too. Yo, man, I'm good. But since they want to practice safe sex, I guess I'm here for those that love giving head. That way you won't get pregnant. Y'all talk about it so much. Shit, y'all personal life out there is so bad. That shit is crazy. But let's get back on topic. I can't believe I just got like this on the panel, but I had to, break it down and explain a little bit. And then my baby pops felt some type of way. Y'all know how men get. I'm just saying that I think 15 inches is a little extreme. Give me the normal men. And I'm not talking about little wee-wees. I'm just talking about give me the little men. And listen, man, I've heard females say don't underestimate the little penises, all right? I've heard them. They like, man, it's not about the size. It's about that stroke game. As long as he got that stroke game and he know what to do, man, we good. Well, I'm like, all right, I guess. But I'm not into the things that you're into. So, man, give me my regular men. The ones that be having the 3 sizes. They got that regular size, that middle, that hard, that hard. The one that reaches your chest and won't hurt you. Okay. OMG, like this shit is crazy. I'm dead.
Well, let me ask
Everything
you.
bears it out that it's an unnatural attitude to take. And how do they know? I mean, after all, they're celibates. They don't know love. They don't know marriage. They know nothing about bringing up children or any of the marriage problems of life. And yet they speak to people as if they were God.
Let me ask you this question. Suppose a healthy, a well-to-do.
Raheem! Isn't that what she's trying to do though? Like, hello, basically you're trying to be God by stopping humans from giving birth, from reproducting. Like, maybe I'm tripping on the question, but isn't she trying to play God? Isn't she doing that too? I mean, listen, man, like I said, I don't believe in abortion for myself personally, but if a woman doesn't want to have a child, I wouldn't suggest abortion. I would say adoption. But that's me. That's how I think and that's how I perceive things. Then you got other people like her. They would say, yo, man, just kill the baby. It doesn't matter. At 1 month, it doesn't have a heartbeat. But you go to the doctors and you'll see that a baby does have a heartbeat at 4 weeks old.
Couples decide for some reason never to have children, use birth control all their lives. Would you say that your methods are being misused, Mrs. Sanger?
Now, if they were intelligent people and they had some reason for thinking of children as a responsibility, or some disease that they might have that they wouldn't like to pass on to a child, and I think it would be a very unselfish attitude for them to take if there is a disease.
No, I say a healthy, well-to-do couple.
But it's not up to you. How many of us haven't had babies with Down syndrome? And we love them kids. How many of us haven't had kids with autism? I have a child with autism. How many of you women out here have a child with autism or Down syndrome or schizophrenia, and you love your child and you don't treat them no different, and you raise them to be normal in this world, and you help them how to deal with whatever mental health issue they got and overcome? I've seen mothers help their child overcome autism, even schizophrenia, believe it or not. Hey, come on, man. Let's not go there.
A couple that just doesn't want children, and for that reason, they use birth control all the way. Do you think that that is a misuse of your methods?
I don't think it's a misuse. I think if they're intelligent adults, they must know what they want. They must manage their lives themselves. And certainly there's nothing in birth control, then there is in other things that you might deny yourself.
I've asked you your motives a little while ago at the beginning of the program, your motives in working for birth control as hard as you have for as many years as you have. You reject the principal Catholic argument against birth control as being totally invalid. What do you think is the reason, the motive of the church in forbidding birth control?
You'd have to ask a Catholic that. I couldn't say what their motive is.
Well, you couldn't say officially what their motive is, but you certainly must have an opinion about it, Mrs. Sanger.
Well, I don't have much to do with the hierarchy. And I know that the people that come to our organization and want to have the same methods, or whatever it is that one can have to prevent pregnancy, that those women will say to us, we ask their religion very often, and they say, I am a Catholic, I've been raised in the Catholic Church. Well, my church is wrong on this. This is the one thing. I will never be anything else, but my church is wrong on this one thing. And that is said over and over and over again. So what the motive is?
Well, you won't hazard a guess.
I don't care to. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
May I ask you why? Now, I know that in private and actually in public discussions, I think, prior to this time, you have been willing to state your understanding of what the motives of the church are, and now you would rather remain silent. May I ask you why?
Well, simply because I don't think that the church has changed in its attitude. Some of the hierarchy have changed their attitude. You can't say the same thing that you might have said a year ago or 2 years ago as to your belief or as to your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And
have you heard it said that the reason that the church is against birth control is because they want more Catholics?
I've read it.
Do you believe it?
Well, if you read their papers where they point out Boston, that's what has happened in Boston and Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. They have simply outbred the Protestants, and they're in Boston and Massachusetts, they have control. I've read that in their own papers.
I see. Of course, the church's answer, and I read now from a pamphlet published by the Redemptorist Fathers in Missouri, says as follows. It says that point of view about wanting more Catholics is nonsense. Quote, the Catholic Church does not command Catholic husbands and wives to have even one child. The Church considers it more than normally meritorious for them to have no children if they mutually and perpetually give up the use of the marriage right for the love of God.
All right. I
right.
don't quote what they do. So I think that the question in my mind is that they do and order their own people to do as they wish. But I object to their having the same rules for people who are not the same religion.
Well, they believe, you see, that it is a natural law, not a Catholic law, but a natural law, and therefore a sin not just for Catholics, but a sin for all peoples. And I think that there are other religious groups. The very, very Orthodox Jews feel the same way about birth control. Let's look at another argument against birth control, Mrs. Sanger, published in Red Book magazine in March of 1956. It says birth control is a devastating social force which tends to weaken the moral fiber of the community. Immunity from parenthood encourages promiscuity, particularly when unmarried persons can so easily avail themselves of the devices. Do you doubt that?
I doubt it.
You do?
Certainly.
Then let me read from a news story in the Philadelphia Daily News on June 10th, 1942. The story quotes you as urging the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps to give its members, quote, preventive measures against pregnancy, end quote. And you add, quote, abortion and illegitimacy are bound to result if the government doesn't recognize human nature, end quote. In other words, you were not advocating Christian morality, but rather ways for single women to avoid bearing illegitimate children.
Where was this taken from?
Philadelphia Daily News, June 10, 1942, direct quote from Margaret Sanger.
I doubt it. I don't believe I ever made such a remark.
Well, in the same vein, in your autobiography, which you cannot disavow, you wrote the following about sexologist Havelock Ellis. You said he's been able to clarify the question of sex and free it from the smudginess connected with it from the beginning of Christianity. Now, what do you mean by the smudginess connected with sex, and why do you blame it on Christianity?
Well, there's many reasons, of course, to say that we have more records of it from the dawn of Christianity. And I think I was speaking of Havelock Ellis as having clarified the question of homosexuals, making the thing not exactly a perverted thing, but a thing that a person is born with, different kinds of eyes, different kinds of structure, and so forth. But he didn't make all homosexuals perverts, and I felt that he clarified that to the medical profession and to the scientists of the world, as perhaps one of the first ones to do that. That was one of the things that I meant in that.
Mr. Sanger, do you...
Commander, funny as hell, Commander said she might have lice jokes. Don't read my comment. I'm being too petty. I'm gonna read that comment. Let's be petty together. Shit. She's scratching her head every time she lies. She being a hypocrite.
Disagree that Catholics, or do you feel that Catholics...
I see why they call her a racist.
...should not have a right to have a say when a city administration contemplates spending their tax dollars on birth control or the dissemination of birth control information, something that Catholics believe is sinful?
If they have a right to say what they...
Do you feel that they don't have a right to have a say when a city administration contemplates spending their dollars, tax dollars, on birth control? For instance, here in New York, Catholics comprise about 45% of our population. They're the largest single group. Well, don't you think they should have the democratic right to lobby against having their money spent, their tax money spent, for something that they consider evil?
Well, I suppose they have a right. They certainly do it. But so have the others. They're only 45% of the population. That is not the majority.
But they have a right to get up and...
Certainly. I'd have no objection to their having them say that, but I think we should have the same right. I say we, I mean non-Catholics.
Well, of course, this is a little bit at variance with something that you told our reporter earlier this week. You said earlier this week, it's not only wrong, it should be made illegal for any religious group to prohibit dissemination of birth control, even among its own members. In other words, you would like to see the government legislate religious beliefs in a certain sense.
Where these strange things come to, that I said them is what I should like to know when.
Well, now, you know that my reporter spent a good deal of time with you. He's,
It's crazy how she is, she says one thing and then denying saying what she said in the past. Like, basically, she wants to put a law where, I mean, isn't that against the law or against the commandments or something like that? The churches, anybody with a religion are allowed to, speak, do what they got to do, and we can't stop them. It's something like, there's not even a loophole to stop that. Oh, it's the freedom of speech. Oh, okay. And she sounds like a whole hypocrite.
very accurate young man.
Yes.
And this
So
is
am
a
I.
this is a specific quote.
Well, I don't think I said it quite that way.
What are your religious beliefs, Mrs. Sanger? Do you believe in a God in the sense of a divine being who rewards or punishes people after death?
Well, I have a different attitude about the divine. I feel that we have divinity within us. And the more we express the good part of our lives, the more the divine.
I think a lot of people think like that. They think that, God doesn't exist. God is within us. So, I mean, you have the same opinion as others on that one. So it's kind of like,
divine within us expresses itself. I suppose I would call myself Episcopalian by religion. And there's many other. If you've traveled around the world, you get quite a bit of the feeling of all.
blessings, Shayla. Blessings. How you doing today?
Have so much alike in the divine part of our own being. And I suppose you just couldn't put that in a book, or you couldn't put it into a phrase or a sentence.
Do you believe in sin? When I say believe, I don't mean believe in committing sin. Do you believe there is such a thing as sin?
Well, I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world.
Oh,
that
shit.
Have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically. Delinquents, prisoners, all sorts of things just marked when they're born. That, to me, is the greatest sin that people can commit.
But sin in the ordinary sense that we regard it, do you believe or do you not believe?
Well, what would they be?
Do you believe in infidelity as a sin?
She basically just said that she don't believe that nobody should have kids. It's a sin to have a baby.
Basically, if a child is born with a deformity, illness, or ailments, they're marked. And if they mark, that means that they're not going to succeed in life. They're not going to be productive for their life or anything else around their life. And some of them go to jail and become criminals. That's what she just said.
And she has
she determined all that from her birth.
But she has been proven wrong. In 2024, you got kids.
Being proven wrong. You can't predict life before life is even born. You can't predict how somebody's going to turn out when they're a baby.
So basically, she's being the same thing she's saying that she doesn't want nobody to be. She's trying to be God herself. I mean, that's why I said she sounded like a whole hypocrite throughout this whole fucking thing. And she contradicts herself.
Well, I'm not going to specify what I think is sin. I've stated what I think is the worst sin.
Yes, but then you asked me to say what, and I said what, and you refused to answer me?
Yes, I don't know about infidelity. It has so many personalities to it, and what a person's own belief is. I couldn't generalize any of those things as being sin.
Murder is a sin.
Well, I naturally think murder is a sin or not. It's a terrible act.
In just a moment, Mrs. Sanger, I'd like to ask you about another social problem here in the United States, divorce. Nearly 400,000 couples get divorced in this country each year. And I'd
Facts, Commander. Facts.
like to get your views on the cause and possible prevention of this problem. We'll get Mrs. Sanger's answer to that question in just 60 seconds. Now then, Mrs. Sanger, there are nearly 400,000 divorces or annulments in America each year. What, and this is hard to do in the short time, of course, that we have, what would you recommend to cut down our divorce rate?
Well, as a great many of our clinics are including in the work that they do in birth control clinics, having marriage counseling. So when the woman or the man come and complain of their marriage on the skids, we invite them to come and have special talks with some of our psychiatrists or others who are making a study of that all over the country, where we have about 500 clinics. They almost all include marriage counseling and marriage direction.
May I ask you this? Could it be that women in the United States have become too independent, that they've followed the lead of women like Margaret Sanger by neglecting family life for a career? Let me quote from your biography describing your second marriage to Noah Slee.
So
In New York, Mrs. Sanger maintained every clause of their compact of independence. They had separate apartments. They telephoned each other for dinner or theater engagements or passed notes back and forth. Would you call this a sound formula for marriage, Mrs. Sanger?
Different people, yes. It certainly was for me and for my husband. We had a very happy marriage consulting. He had different friends than I had. And I don't believe in forcing. After all, we were two adults. And forcing your friends on another person who may have an entirely different outlook. It worked out very well.
I know that it did. You have two sons. One final question. You have two sons. How many children?
Yo, this lady believes that having children is a sin. She believes in cheating. And her way of being independent is saying, fuck a man. Basically. So we got Margaret Sanger that is against men helping us. You know, us women being with men hand in hand, doing what we got to do. Then you got Mary, what bro, however you say her, like, yeah, who, you know, when she started the women's rights and stuff like that, she was doing it hand in hand with a man. She believed in independence, but she wasn't bringing men down. Only the men that were abusive, that was treating women like, you know, less. So her equal rights wasn't trying to, you know, be better than a man, be more than a man, or be a man himself. Her equal rights was like, yo, let me get treated like you. Like, you know, I don't want to get beat on. I don't want to be, you know, be lesser than you. I want to get paid like you. We're going to work, you know, if I'm going to work or when I'm working. Like, because back then, women were considered nothing more than just a housewife. They wasn't allowed to work. They wasn't allowed to do a lot of things. So basically, that's what they started fighting for. It wasn't for us to be men themselves or to bring the men down. But in the process of it, especially after that bill passed, I guess that's where the men started losing their rights and our women's rights started overpowering. And I'm not saying there's something wrong with the women's rights, right? I'm just saying that's used for the right reasons, for what it was really meant to be for. Like this Mary Woodrow, she had 2 kids and she showed that she could be independent and she wanted to work, but when she worked, she wanted to get paid just like a man. If her job is just as good as a man's job, why not get paid the same as a man and get treated as a man? Now, I'm not saying get treated as a man like, oh, okay, I'm going to do everything that a man does. No, you can't do that. A man can't give birth and a woman can't sit here and, how can I say, procreate a child with another woman, reproduce another child with another woman. Nah, she needs a man for that. Like, there's so many things that we could do, and you know, with our good men out here, hand in hand, build, raise our kids right, lead them to be, you know, guide them to be leaders. I could just keep going.
Children have they?
Would you like to see them?
I would indeed.
As well.
How many children? 6 in this family?
5 boys and a girl in that family.
And in the other family?
2 girls.
2 girls. Miss Sanger, I thank you so much for taking time out and coming and talking.
And Mr. Wells, I've never smoked. But I'm going to begin to take up smoking and use Philip Morris as the cigarette for me to take.
Well, I thank you very much, Mrs. Sanger.
Indeed.
In the eyes of some, Margaret Sanger has been a heroine. In the eyes of others, she's been a destructive force. The purpose of this interview has been not, of course, to try to resolve this issue, but to open it to a little sensible discussion. This was done with the feeling.
All right, let me see, did it end there? Yeah, it ended. All right. That Joan was crazy, yo. Like, this lady was a hypocrite of herself. Like, I don't know. Her beliefs are not my beliefs. but the same type of beliefs that she have, a lot of people have them out here. So, like it was hard hearing her. Hypocrite, contradicting herself in so many ways. Hold on, I gotta share the screen again. So now that we heard that, like I told y'all, basically I did this because I wanted y'all to see, how the women's rights started. And way before Margaret Woodrow, there was another woman, I think back in the 1500s, who also initiated the women's rights. So this has been going far back until they passed that law, the women's rights law, back in 1945. So apparently, Candise gets a backlash because of her views, her opinions, and how she perceives life when it comes to women's rights and much more. Let me see. All right, Bluetooth, chill. I'll get you in a minute. There was a video I was about to put on. Candace Owens, don't fall for the scam of feminism. Relatable with Allie. All right, let's see what they got to say.
I feel like this is something for a lot of the people that are targeted, for lack of a better term, by people on the left, the intersectionality scale that says, okay, if you are a woman, if you're an immigrant, if you're a Black person, if you are a Muslim, whatever it is, you have to see the world through the lens of the oppressed versus oppressor. And it's something that I call the gospel of grievance, that the left has been preaching for a long time, that you have to vote out of grievance. You have to think out of grievance. I saw this tweet the other day. It was some tweet saying, the people that report the most satisfaction in marriage are actually women who are religious and who are conservative and who believe in more traditional gender roles. And you had all these feminists just so angry about this reality, so angry, so.
Well, I mean, I don't want to bust your bubble, shorty. I don't know who you is. Shout out to Blaze TV. Y'all want to sub up to her? Y'all more than welcome. Go check her out. I'm listening to her. I'm trying to see what she got to say on the Candace Owens don't fall for the scam. Apparently, Candace Owens says that feminism is a scam. So I'm gonna go back to the video that had me start this topic so that y'all can see why all this has started, and I would love to hear y'all opinions.
Bitter. I could not believe the things that I was hearing, but that's because a lot of people have been trained to see the world out of that lens of grievance and resentment and oppression. And I just would think that people want to be liberated from that. That's a heavy weight to carry.
Right. I mean, when I had you on my podcast, actually, I don't know if you saw this in one of the comments. It was actually so sad. It's the saddest comment that I've ever read, and it broke my heart. But a woman wrote underneath, thank you, Candace and Allie, for having this discussion. I recommend all girls watch this. She said, I fell for the scam of feminism. Now I'm in my, mid 50s. I'm not married. I have no children. I take antidepressants. Wow. So sad. But that is the reality that we live in, is that they try to get people in their youth to believe that they're going to find happiness through rage. And that's not the truth. By hating men, by being resentful towards marriage, by calling marriage bondage. And the truth is that if you fall for that scam, it does ultimately lead to unhappiness. And I try to catch those people while they're young and say, listen, you can fall for this scam. Whether if you're Black, it's the scam that, your biggest problem is the white man. But if you follow that path, you will end up unhappy. And it's time for us to take that back and say, no, we want opportunities. We have opportunities, and we are blessed to live in this country. The happiest of Black Americans, or the most successful Black Americans that live in this country, are from Nigeria. Think about that. It's because they haven't been taught. Yeah, they haven't been taught about racism. They haven't been taught that.
That's a fact. That's a fact, Commander. Because when Mary Woodrow started off the Feminism Act, she didn't start it off because for the same reasons that Margaret Sanger did. Margaret Sanger had like a mission, like she wanted to start a cult. She actually did. She started the Planned Parenthood. So listen, man, this shit is crazy. Like, this is why I would love to hear more opinions. Like, a lot of people know how I think, how I feel. I've said it throughout the first live, the second live. This is the second live. But basically, I'm going to end up repeating myself. So, yeah, like my opinion is not going to change. Like at the end of the day, this right here has been a hoax. To me, it's been a scam. Like these are things that are used to divide us, the men and the women. Like we should be doing this shit hand in hand, together in unity, building with each other. Like if you had a child with somebody, right, and you're not together no more, you should be able to co-parent, right, and still build. Y'all shouldn't be intervening in each other's lives. The women shouldn't be bashing the men. The men shouldn't be bashing the women. But we're in an era where all this is happening, where all this is possible. And why? Because we're letting it get this far. We've got lazy somewhere along the line, and we're not standing up and we're not speaking up. And the ones that do stand up and the ones that do speak up get shut down, get dragged. Like, come on, let's make it make sense. But let's keep reading.
They're less than, and when they come into this country, they're doing what everybody else does. They just work hard.
They work hard. Exactly. It's really simple, and it's crazy how just convoluted the message has gotten from hard work and human potential to the conversation, like you said, about reparations. And that doesn't mean, and I've heard you say this before, like that doesn't mean that oppression hasn't happened or discrimination hasn't happened or that there aren't racist, sexist out there. I mean, there are people who don't like pregnant women out there. There are people who don't like blondes. There are people who don't like girls. There's all these kinds of isms out there. And so we can either sit here and we can say, wow, it's really unfair that there are some people out there that don't like women and who think that I'm dumb because I'm a woman or whatever it is. Or you can just do what you're called to do and fulfill a purpose that God has called you to do for his glory. And
in facts, move on. Listen, man, a lot of people accomplish their mission by stopping somebody from doing what they're supposed to do, and by bringing them down, for fighting for people's rights and stuff like that. And it shouldn't be like that. Like, shout out to those people out there that actually stand up and they fight for what they believe in. But there's people out here trying to knock that dream down, like Margaret Sanger, like the lady was saying earlier. Like, this ain't gonna stop, right? Because even though they took her name away, they retracted her name from the Planned Parenthood and all this. Y'all still following her legacy. Y'all changed the name, all right, but the legacy still goes. So since the legacy is still gonna go, why not just stop everything and start from scratch and find another way? Like, why not go back to the way Mary Woodrow did the things? Like, I don't know. But we could find different ways. And we know a lot about our past. Like, why not come together and put together a new law, a new bill, something that helps, but equality for all, not just men, not just women. Let the men do what the men got to do. Let the women do what they got to do. But we're not going to sit here and make it seem like it's okay that we're going to try to replace each other, because that's not the way to go.
And not worry about what everyone else has said. It just seems like such a limiting mentality. But like you said, I do think it's from a place of a lack of self-confidence. I also think it's a place of fear too, that if you claim that, well, you can't do anything anyway because you are being oppressed or held back, then if you don't succeed, it's not your fault. You don't have to take responsibility for it.
That's exactly right. It's easier to be a victim. It's much easier to be a victim. It's much harder to look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, why didn't I do better here? Why did this person beat me at this? What can I do to change about myself? That takes courage and humility to see where you went wrong and to assess yourself. And that is hard. And that's why I tell people, I say, look around the room. You're not a special snowflake. Life is hard for everybody. Right when you think that you've had the worst day of your life, you can guarantee another one is right around the corner. But life is really about how many more times you get back up. We start at different places in life, but we're all afforded the same opportunities. We are blessed to live in this country. And that really is the messaging of Blexit. Blexit left and just walk right into your future and embrace it, because once you do, you'll see how much more you are rewarded. And it just feels better. Like I said, it just feels better.
Senator Paul. So we're going to go back real quick, right? And we're going to find the video that I told y'all that started all of this, which I think is crazy, because I don't think that Candace was out of pocket, out of order, right? And I feel as though that Candace Owens answered that little girl's question the best way she could.
Hi.
And she gave her opinion. So for the people that got mad at Candace Owens for answering, this little girl's question respectfully and intelligent wise, man, I don't know. Something's wrong with y'all. For real. Like, I don't know if it's that y'all followers, y'all following a trend, like whichever way it is. Like, listen, man, the lady is speaking facts right here. I'm not with that feminist bullshit. Once I found out what it was, listen, I'm not going to sit here and bash all men. It's not all men that are responsible for what happened to certain women. For example, what happened to me in the past, right? Me being a survivor, me being a warrior now, because I'm way past a survivor. I can't sit here and blame it on every man that comes my way. I can't, because it's not their fault. It really isn't. And a lot of men are out here, got good hearts. A lot of men out here want to do what they got to do, want to step up to the plate, want to treat a woman like a queen. But some women don't want to be treated like queens. I mean, like, what the fuck? So women sit here and use a child as a weapon. What's the problem with a man opening our doors? If you don't want to be treated like that, well, then stay single. But don't sit here and bring the next female that is being happy in her relationship, right, with her man because, he's opening the doors. He's paying for dinner for her and her. I mean, for him and him. What the fuck? They got me saying him and her and her. He's sitting here paying the check. They out, they're having dinner and stuff like that. And he's paying for the check. He's not making her do it. They're not arguing about it. You see where I'm coming from? She don't got to worry about if he's on the down low, she's on the down low. They're happy. They're treating each other. They're loving each other. They're helping each other hand in hand. They're bringing each other up. They're building. But you want to be single. You don't want none of that. That's not her fault. So you sit here and go out your way. And I've seen plenty of females do it. If I'm single, she gonna be single too. Oh, I'm this. I'm gonna make sure that I turn you out. I know I could turn you out. I'll be like, damn, how many of y'all that are straight be like, damn, like, you serious? You think you could turn me out? No matter how many times you say I'm strictly dickly, they swear up and down. Man, it doesn't matter if I don't have, a third leg, I could turn you out. No, you ain't converting me. You ain't changing me. I know what I want. I know who I am. And I know definitely where I'm going. So, shit be crazy, man. I've seen a lot of shit out here. That's why I was like, look, listen, man, we need our men hand in hand. If you want to be, that way, you could be that way. But don't try to force somebody else that doesn't want to be like that to be that. Don't try to get into the minds of our kids to be that. I'm just talking in general. But like I've said time after time, if that shoe fits, wear that itch. Because I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just talking about the things I see. Why are we bringing down men? Why are we bringing down women? Because they want to be with each other in unity. Because they want to support each other. Because a woman and a man wants to co-parent. Because a woman wants to have a man as a best friend. Or because a woman wants to sit here and do this. Or a man wants to sit here and do that. Why are we bringing men down that want to, lead our young men to be grown men? Why are we bringing men down that are speaking on their stories and listen, peep how I ain't say their truth, their story to bring awareness and help younger men? We're bringing them down. We're bashing them. We're turning them into memes and not giving a fuck. What is our problem? This shit is crazy. Yep, if I would have listened to my boyfriend at the time, I would not be married. That's a fact. Like, come on, man. Like, we got to get our shit together. Look, listen, man. We jump and we're hopping into relationships so fast that we sitting here, we get hurt by this one. The next one got to pay for it. No, man, take your time. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. All right. You had sex, you sure enough. All right, it happened. I think about it. Listen, man, I've had a lot of men before I got into a relationship. I had a lot of men tell me, oh, you're not going to give it up. No, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. I'm not that easy to tame. Sacrifice is all I hear from a lot of people. I'm not easy to tame. And I have to question a man when he's like, I want to be your best friend. Nah, man, I grew up with my best friend. Now she's my sister. I question a man. Why you want to be my best friend now? I don't even know you. I'm not trying to be a bitch, but listen, man, I don't call myself Rachel Trust No One Santiago for no reason. Listen, man, my circle is small, and it's small for a reason, because we're in an era where unity don't exist. And I ask a lot of questions, and that pisses people off, because at the end of the day, I don't get played no more. You could tell me that this person, this man right here, is the worst man in the world, and I'm listening to you, but I hear this person over here say, oh, this person's not like that, da-da-da-da. And I'm saying, I'm like, damn, y'all want me to pick a side or something? Then I have to sit here and fall back and observe and see and determine for myself if this person is good or if this person is not bad, because I've been played before, and it turns out that the person that people have talked down has been good. I'm like, damn, man, I should have listened to that person. That person was right. Man, jealousy and envy exist in friends, family, whatever. It's like I have people tell me, don't tell your kids that your family is not their family. My family is not their family. I'm their family. Whatever family comes their way, they create is their family. See, at the end of the day, we got to realize, I don't know what bubble we live in and why we keep painting this picture perfect family portrait life, when in reality, we have a little bit of everything. We have dysfunctional families. We have functional families. We have families that, listen, man, I could just keep going. We have families with mental health issues. You could consider that dysfunctional, but you could also put them in the functional. Like, it's crazy, because I've seen, moms give birth, dads, be there with the moms that have given birth with a baby with Down syndrome, schizophrenia, or autism, or something like that. And guess what? Happy families, where I've seen them separate because of some type of illness that a child has had. Like, come on, let's not do that. It's up to the person. It's the person. That's why, I didn't get when people used to say back then, humans are the biggest virus, or when you hear it in the movies, humans are the biggest virus. I get it now. This shit is crazy. But we need to stop downplaying our men.
I had an honest question for you,
Yeah, no worries.
because I feel like your grandfather's story is very inspiring. But you say that people complain so much. But if people didn't complain in those days and fight for people's rights and fight for feminism, which is just equality for women, then you wouldn't be on the stage today, and I wouldn't be here asking you this question. And so if people aren't complaining, as you say, and fighting for rights, then nothing would happen. So how can you reconcile these differences?
Yeah. So first I want to say I understand your sentiment, because when I was your age, I thought the same thing, that feminism is just about equality. One of the brilliant things that the left does is they repackage words. So clearly.
And how many of us thought the same thing, that feminism was just about equality? And when I did my research, and I'm sitting here like, wait. Feminism is not just about equality. What the heck am I doing? What am I saying? Do we know the meaning of feminism? Why are we using this word? Are we using it appropriately? Like, so many questions started emerging that I'm sitting here like, damn, I got to do my research on this. And if y'all go watch part 1 of this live, it will tell you why I started doing my research.
Clearly not feminism anymore. It's designed to actually rip apart women and men, to make women paranoid about men all the time. And every industry is controlled by a man, and to make being on your own, I want to do all by myself, aspirational, right? It's about all my single ladies who needs a man. So just because you're using the word feminism, it doesn't mean that it is feminism, right? And as best evidenced by the fact that they just keep using it, when obviously we are on equal footing with men. And unless you can tell me what you're not allowed to do as a woman in society that men are allowed to do, right? That would be like a systemic problem that we would need to fix. And so also,
and she's not lying. I'm saying it, like, what more do we want to do that a man does? I mean, we're already working. We're not just housewives. You see where I'm coming from? But now we're stopping the men from opening doors. The men from, sitting here inviting us to go out to dinner. The men from sitting here doing the things that they used to do as men. Making them more feminine, taking the masculinity away from them, making them feel less of themselves if they speak on their story and bring awareness to it so that they can help other younger men. So now we're downplaying them, right? That's what it is. But we're stuck. We're stuck on this phase because we're following a lady that was scorned. There's more than one type of feminist. So why do it? I'm with women's rights, but what about men's too?
Oh, I want to just remind you that I said earlier that you don't know true history. And when you wake up to the evils of feminism, they were fixated on breaking up the family. They liked death, right? They were creating a cult of death and destruction everywhere, all across the world. And just to be clear, the earliest iteration of a feminist that you're talking about that you deem to be heroic would be Margaret Sanger. That's a first wave feminist, and she hated me. So I feel nothing towards those feminists.
And that's a fact. And people, how she said those feminists. So for the people that sat here and dragged Candace Owens for this, I feel as though that there's something wrong with y'all. Y'all, there's some type of insecurity with y'all. I don't have a problem with a man opening my door. I sure as hell don't have a problem with the father of my kids that's co-parenting with me, helping me pay the bills. And we go hand in hand on this. And it's not 50-50, it's 100-100. But a lot of people get offended when a shorty and other people talk like this. But why are you getting offended? Why? What's bothering you? Is the fact that we're building together bothering you? It's the fact that we're not letting people get in our way bothering you? It's the fact that we're working out our problems and our issues as we should bother. Is that what's bothering you? I mean, I'm asking for those that are out there miserable that think that a man and a woman can't go hand in hand together and accomplish a lot of things. I mean, unless we're only good for just having sex with each other. Am I wrong? There are women out there that don't want to be married. That's fine. But just because they don't want to be married doesn't mean that a friend doesn't want to get married. She might want to get married. She feel as though that this person right here, she did her time, she did her research, put him through the test. He's passed each and every test, maybe failed one or two, and they working on it. Shit, the love of Celia Cruz and Pedro Knight still exists. I seen it not so long ago. I seen this lady go crazy when her man passed, and they was together for over 60 years. And I'm saying, like, damn, they've been through thick and thin. She's like, I'm married to my best friend. I don't know what to do. Like, when that woman cried, the vibrations of her cries, you will feel it in your soul. So why we want to bring our good men down? If anything, I should see all that attention towards the bad men, the men that ain't shit, the real men that ain't shit. But y'all want to give it to our real men, the ones that are sitting here with us, fighting hand in hand. Is y'all serious?
And when I look around and I see women who are now crying on TikTok, and they don't understand, they did everything they were supposed to do, and I actually empathize and sympathize with them. And then suddenly they're in the world and they're making $25,000 a year and they can't do bad all by themselves, single ladies. And actually their bodies start coming online and their biology starts coming online, and they actually want to get married and have children. And they're realizing that they've stepped into a design that they were promised was going to be, as you hear, it's just going to be great. It's all going to be amazing. And it actually isn't that amazing. I don't know why. What are we even fighting anymore? Men holding doors? That's the new feminist cause. Like, no, equality means don't hold the door. No, I like when men pay for my meals. Love when my husband pays for my meals when we're recording. I like having the door held for me. In a perfect world, our society was so much better when women were involved.
That's a fact. I love when my man comes here and I'm the one that he trusts, that he could tell me everything, that I'm the one that he confides in. That's the crazy part. Like, I don't hold just his pistol. I hold his money. I hold everything. I hold his secrets. He comes to me. And that makes me feel good. I know everything he does. He'll show me his phone, everything. So why should I put him down because this female over here just hates all men? Oh, I fucks with this female, but she hates all men. I should bring my nigga down. I should bring my man down. I should say, fuck him. I should bash him because this shorty over here that I fucks with, like, she's my friend and everything. But she's telling me all men ain't shit. You should leave him. He's going to do the same thing to you. Really, shorty? Really? We've been this long together and nothing's happened yet. Oh, you trying to jinx it. Oh, my bad. Let's go back to Candace and let her finish this real quick.
Every single day with their children before we hand them over to the Department of Education. And so I do not see feminism as having accomplished anything in our society. I actually think it was a nightmare that is being repackaged in our textbooks. So I would implore you to just do a little more research and start with Emma Goldman. Hi.
Hi. I had an honest question for you.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to come on here real quick. I see that I think Selena should be live. I'm about to go check her live out. I want to thank everybody that's come on here. I would love to hear your opinions. Anybody that catches the replay, I am going to edit these 2 lives and put them together so that way everybody can see it. It's going to be in a couple parts, but they're going to be together the way they're supposed to be without the interruptions and stuff like that. So I want to thank everybody that has joined the shorty, showed the shorty support, rocked out with a shorty, has shared her videos, helped to bring awareness, and much more. And it's crazy because, like I've told y'all, I've done poems on this. Let me see if I got these in the right place. So I'm gonna end this live with these poems, and then I'm gonna go check out Selena. Make sure y'all go check out Miss Selena. Like I tell y'all, like I don't always get to catch her lives, and when I do, I share them because there's nothing but positive vibes. Great conversations, great topics. But these are the lyrical poems that I've done, and they relate to everything that we're going through. This is how I see and I perceive the world. They don't talk about us only when there's a crime. Would you believe me if I was to tell you that in this world, with or without money, we're all richer than the poor? The problem is those that say that I'm reaching out to give a hand and stay they leeching hands is itching, ready to see you listen. Well, thinking what to write, something inside me told me I can freestyle or I can rap. I can go with a rhythm that can make you dance. Tell you what I see on a daily, tell you everything's okay just to avoid dilemma. Or I can simply bring you something positive to the table and warn you of the ongoing problems that we're having. Instead, I have to reach out to my conscience once again as I watch the crime and the violence rise and the kids lose their innocence. Now, the concept of forming a home day by day loses its essence. They don't want to hear that. I can't keep my arms crossed in front of the system. If I don't do something, I'm also part of the problem. As guilty as the one that pulls the trigger, like the person in the crowd that hits the record button on their phone to expose a lie instead of the truth for clout. To need 1,000 views. The government doesn't have a solution. The problem started when we took God out the equation. The problem ain't us celebrating. The problem is that we're a nation divided when we should be a nation united and praying. That's how we live today. When problems occur, we come up with a meaning. Laugh a little, move on with no care in the world, as if it ain't even a thing in this world. If it's like this today, I don't want to see the future. Because nowadays, they'll make a meme out of a person that can't even see a day of light no more. What makes you think they care? They can't even break bread at the table. I don't know how you want to be rappers and lyricists can go on with life, living on an illusion with nothing good to write. Talking about killing someone, selling drugs with pride, until the scripts are flipped and someone you love dies. Right? This ain't solved by activating the National Guards and going behind bars. This is deep, this is me and you. And they say as time pass by, it will heal everything. Shit, you wear these scars? I seen time flash by and everything. Leaving me on standby, ready to kill everything. Alone in the mirror, looking at myself, say, girl, you're everything. You don't need for anything, shorty. So unless you walk a mile in my shoes, don't say anything. Just take a minute and listen so you can consume everything. Me and you are not the same, so make sure you look both ways when you cross me, and that's on everything. This world is crazy. I would say shady. Ironic, right? Nowadays, you can't trust no one. When you do, niggas be having their panties all in a bunch, thinking that they own one. Saying the things that you accomplished in life is theirs and that you owe them one. Nowadays, your friends turn into enemies, and your family members are your biggest haters. Can't see you accomplished. What's even more crazy is that they say as time pass by, it will heal everything. I seen time flash by and it revealed everything, leaving me on standby, ready to kill everything. Alone in the mirror saying, girl, you're everything. You don't need for anything, shorty. So if you haven't walked a mile in my shoes, take a minute and listen so you can consume everything. Me and you are not the same, so make sure that when you cross me, you look both ways, and that's on everything. Some people will always have a place in my heart, but not in my life.
Hey, yo, Flory, turn me up.
Because when I tell you that it hurts, it hurts.
Envy in your eyes, yet you want trust. Can't tell if you're an enemy or a friend. I mean, back then when I was naive, now I'm older, some say wiser. I'm no fool. I'm only a friend when convenient. Took a while to understand that what was real would never be. Only when you're in pain and alone, you know who you can really depend on. You say you a friend, where were you when I needed a hand? Shit, you was following a trend. A friend ain't nothing but $1 in your pocket when the money gone, so are they. Shit. And they say a friend in need is a friend indeed. You watched as I drown, now I'm getting around while you in the dog pound. Shit. It's funny how karma has a tendency of bringing things back around. It's not funny when the one you look up to is the one wearing the crown. You nothing but a clown. What you need to do is bring that ass back around town and, like Deja says, smack a nigga with an open hand. I remember the first time I made my mama a promise. I was so young, fucked up in the head, had to toughen up. Even though that was a promise I knew I could never keep. Just peep, cause this is deep. Mama, I try to reach. Why you try to preach? You knew he was nothing but a leech. He was just like Adam, but instead of the apple, he grabbed the fruit of your leaves, and to him they tasted like peaches. That's when I knew that promises were meant to be broken if they don't come from the heart. Damn, that's fucked up, mama. You put your child in the middle of your promise. You put your whole world on your child's shoulder, not once thinking that in the future she'll have her own burdens. She screamed, "Mama, please," while she begged on her knees. Let my protector come back into my life with her wrist sliced in the air. God, please. As time passed by, she learned what a curse and a blessing was, and now she is blessed to be. You got motherfuckers talking about that they want to make a change, they want to make a difference, but still stuck in the same phase. You got motherfuckers talking about that they want to chase a bag, but stay at home and nag. Then when you ask them what they need, they say less talking, more opinions, no prayers with division. You ask me, y'all need to focus more on revision, rely less on television. How you want a future you have no vision? This world is just like fiction. What we need is more talking, less opinions, more prayers with no division. Before you come up with a conclusion, giving people false illusions, pick up a book, do your research, learn your history before you end up in a ditch making history. Division and religion isn't working. The only way to show God our faith and love is through our actions. Our convictions is the only thing that really unite us. One God, one nation, different beliefs. There's words that can't fly with the wind. There's insults that are not violent. Meanwhile, while you're home to them, they're killing you on the inside. If I was to tell you that I didn't hurt, I would be lying. Would you believe me if I was to tell you that there's truths that lie, especially when they're telling you that they're indifferent? Getting shoved to the side because you're different. There's a hug out there someone didn't receive today. Probably because of what was said about them yesterday. Probably because of the way they was dressed today. Not realizing that the one that they hate could be the one that saves their day. But you know what? Thanks to them, it's another day in history where you get to flip the pages to your book and speak your story. And Lord, it's unholy. But you know what hurts the most? As I walk down the street and I see how easily we're divided. When we all should be united. One body, one mind, one soul, a million talents. Lord, without you, we're all divided. Forgive them, Lord, for they don't know any better. They don't know that there's someone out there that loves them. Damn, Ryder, what happened? They said that because of me, you've changed in a way that they've never seen before. That because of me, you've done things that you've never done before. Why am I with you if I could do better, they say.
Production.
They say that you're a man with no emotions. They say that you are heartless, a heartbreaker. That you use us and leave us. They say that I suck that ass. Damn. They ask, what do you see in him that you don't see in me? I'll give you the world if you leave. My question is, do you see the man? Do you see what I see? Can't you tell that our eyes locked, souls attached? There's no match as the world mocks our love. No fear as I hold your hand. There's an angel in the corner where the devil once lurked, looking into the crowd as the haters smirk. Feeling like I'm in hell as I walk down the street. I'm in a fairy tale, I'm Belle and he's the beast. Only time to tell, I want to yell. I'm the beauty inside the beast, uncast a spell. It's like a blast to take you to the past. At last, my eyes are clear. There's no more fear as I hold your hand. Into the world, we won't bend. Do you know I believed everything you ever said to me? First man I ever put my shield down for. Look at how you played me. Give you my heart for what? I told you it's not that easy to tame me. Give you my heart for what? I don't want no one to entertain me. Give you my heart for what? When you already sacrifice is what I hear you tell me. Sometimes I feel like you don't even know me. Lord, please help me. The situation is really starting to annoy me. Tell me what we do now. Looking for something where there's nothing, I don't want to argue anymore. Living with the illusion that one day you'll love me the same way that I do, but I'm just a game to you. You're looking for vengeance in me while I'm dreaming of a future for us. I don't know what to do anymore. Sacrifice is what I hear you tell me. Shoot, I don't even want to see you anymore. They say that from love we cannot escape, so why lie to each other? I don't even feel you anymore. I know they already tore your heart apart. I gave you my heart and you watched it bleed. They tore you into pieces. I just want you to know that that wasn't me. They hurt you and that messed you up. But tell me, why do I have to pay the consequences? Maybe you love someone that you shouldn't have loved. You made a fatal decision. Tell me, why do I have to pay the consequences? Maybe they played you. They didn't really love you. It was probably an adventure. Nothing more than just a game to them. They never really gave you a chance. I just really had to pay the consequences. Damn, I would have never thought we made it this far. I'm sitting here thinking, you thinking that you love me wanting to believe you. It all felt so real what we were living. Even though in our hearts we didn't mean it. God, damn, we're in so deep. Do you know I believed everything you ever said to me? First person I ever put my shield down for, and look at how you played me. Give you my heart for what? I told you it's not that easy to tame me. Give you my heart for what? I don't want no one to entertain me. Give you my heart for what? When you already blame me. Sacrifice is what I hear you tell me. Sometimes I feel like you don't even know me. Lord help me. This situation is really starting to annoy me. In the shadow of my dreams, I was confined a prisoner of my own mind, hoping to find escape from the horrors that kept haunting me. Chained to a bed, just imagine a nightmare with Freddy. Every night his claws would scrape against my fears. A twisted dance, waking, dripping in cold sweat and tears. But deep within, a flicker of strength found its way. I'm about to break free from this endless fray. Growing up, it felt like I was in prison, shackled to a bed and life filled with derision. But now I rise, armored against my own fright. No longer bound, I'm ready to face the fight. Through the darkness, I found the light of resilience, unlocking the power to break these chains of existence. No longer confined to the grip of my past, I'll sculpt a new reality that will forever last. I face the demons that once held me down. Now they tremble as I wear my battle crown. With every step I take on this path of liberation, I reclaim my power and rewrite this narration. Growing up, it felt like I was in prison, shackled to a bed and life filled with derision. But now I rise, armored against my own fright. Freddy may have haunted my nights before, but now I'm stronger than ever, knocking on his door. I'll stand tall and break these nightmares apart. No longer confined, I'll conquer my fears with heart. Growing up, it felt like I was in prison, shackled to a bed and life filled with derision. But now I rise, armored against my own fright. No longer bound, I'm ready to face the fight. Growing up, it felt like I was in prison. Just imagine being chained to a bed. Just imagine a nightmare with Freddy. We all have a story in our life that has caused us trauma. Scars tattooed in our skin that can never be forgotten. Memories that are partially forgiven. If we could only see that at times we're our own worst enemy. This is my story. In this world of blame and shame, we point fingers, we play the game. But as our children cry in fear, we turn the blind eye, we shed no tears. Believe our women, they say, while our kids are led astray. Lost in darkness, lost in pain, yet their cries fall silent like the rain. It's a shame how far we've come, blaming all the men playing dumb. But our children need us near to wipe their tears and calm their fears. In this land of the free, water's a commodity for you and me. Can't you see? It's not fair, it's plain to see. People struggling to pay for something they need every day. In America where we say we're free, but water shouldn't come at a fee. A shorty just speaking in general about the things that seem so small. This ain't meant towards everyone, just a cry in the dark. In America where water is marked. Brothers and sisters, hear my plea. This is not about you or me. Our kids are the future, they hold the key. Wake up before we're met with defeat. In this world of chaos and strife, we must guide them to a better life. Teach them love, compassion, and light, so they can lead us out of this endless night. Let's unite as one strong force. For our children, let's stay on course. Together we can make a change and secure a better future in exchange. Y'all should have listened the first time they let the cat out the hat. Now it's a crime. Many are falling into a trap, thinking it's a game, but they full of cap. Some are ready and fully strapped, while others keep falling into the gap. The warning signs were clear as day, but some chose not to heed what they say. Now the consequences come to light. Those who ignored are in for a fight. Listen close and learn from this mishap. Don't be caught unaware. Don't fall into the trap. From the wisdom of my elders, I learned women are strong, independent, and firm. But sometimes we need a helping hand to conquer challenges and make a stand. Independence is crucial, that's true. Yet together with a man, we can pursue. Respect yourself first and foremost, so others will treat you like the most. Ladies, growing up, remember this advice. You're capable of anything you devise. But partnership and respect go hand in hand. Embrace your strength and make a stand. Memories of the past I couldn't see, now I understand. The wisdom they gave me, respect yourself first, that's the key. To earn respect from others is how it should be. A man's worth measured by how he treats his queen. Love and romance in the air, a beautiful scene. A woman's power to uplift or demean. In her hands lies a man's dream. Lessons learned from an OG so true. In matters of the heart, they know what to do. Love and respect intertwined like glue. In a world where old-fashioned values still ring through. Peter Pan, Peter Pan, Peter Pan was a fairy tale. Now males want to be females without fail. Women want to be a man, it's a twisted tale. Flipping scripts and roles, they set sail. Fighting for roles, turn into moles. Making hits with their agenda goals. Targeting our kids, it takes a toll. To them it's a bliss, to us it's a black hole. They ain't trying to miss. Their agenda is the ultimate twist. Infiltrating young minds with their list. But we won't let them persist. I'm with women's rights, but what about men's too? Equality for all, it's long overdue. We want progress, we need to see both sides. Blame and shame won't help us unite. Don't label him a deadbeat without looking in the mirror. Sometimes it takes two to create rupture. Let's have conversations that include everyone. Empathy and understanding, the battles can be won. Men face struggles too, let's not forget. Their mental health matters, let's not neglect. It's time to break down walls and build bridges instead. Together we can strive for equality ahead. You scream for the police every time he come around. They scream child support abuse, playing victim in this town. Enjoy that check, boo, but remember what goes up must come down. The only time he's worthy is when he bails you out the mess you found. You play the game, manipulating hearts without a doubt, but karma's knocking at your door, there's no way out. You point fingers and shift the blame around, but in the end, it's your own chaos that you found. You dance with danger, living on the edge of lies, but the truth will catch up to you, no more disguise. The man you rely on to clean up your mess is so profound, will soon see through your facade and leave you astounded. Using a child as a weapon, it's a shame. A woman who lacks self-respect, I can't acclaim. Real men fighting for what they believe in, never in vain. Standing 10 toes down, bringing awareness to the pain. Respect is earned by how you carry yourself, not by tearing others down for personal wealth. Real men don't back down, they fight with honor and stealth against injustice and falsehoods that threaten our health. Let's uplift each other instead of tearing apart. Supporting one another from the start. Real men stand tall with courage in their heart, fighting for justice and truth, playing their part. Here's for the men who share their truth, never afraid to stand tall in their boots, respecting our women, fighting for what's right, supporting our kids day and night. Real women out there blazing trails, men by their side never looking pale. Rights for all, let's keep the balance true. Men have a voice, let's listen to. In this crazy world where battles are fought, let's remember the men who give it all they've got. Respect to those who speak their stories loud. Together we stand strong and proud. Together we stand, united we'll rise, setting an example for young eyes. In every step we take, in every plan, guiding the next generation's hand. Leading by actions, not just by words, teaching them to fly like birds. Showing love and respect in all we do, for they're always watching, taking cues. Hand in hand, let's pave the way for a better tomorrow, starting today. Our children learn from what they see. Let's show them how great they can be.
So once again, thanks to all those that rocked out. Yo, it's not easy doing them lyrical poems, man. I gotta work on my breathing. I could hear it. Yo, every time I caught my breath and kept going, I was like, how the hell do they do it so that you don't hear that catching of your breath as you go on to the next one? Like, you know, that pause you gotta take, catch your breath, and then keep going. I don't know how the hell they edit that joint the fuck out. Yo, for real. But that was a 5-minute joint, man. That joint wasn't easy. But I am going to sit here. I'm going to figure out how the heck I got to control my breath. And I don't know, Mary Jane. I think, man, but I can't pop up with these good lyrics and me and you don't sit down and think. I don't know. I'm not stopping you. Me and Mary Jane make a good team. And I get all this by listening. So I don't like my voice, but I know I gotta control my breathing. I was listening to it and I'm like, yo, on this one I can actually hear every time I caught my breath, pause to go to the next one. And then I have to edit certain things out. Certain things did get edited out the John because I did make a couple mistakes. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. But that shit not easy catching your breath, every time. And going on to the John. But thanks to everybody that listened to me. I'm gonna figure out how I can I control my breathing as I'm doing them little lyrical poems. Cause like, believe it or not, like basically that's what I think Tupac used to do, that lyrical poetry. Like that's what they called him, a poet. Mostly all his music, all his raps were lyrical poems. Like if y'all sit here and read them, they were lyrical poems, stories that he was telling. And that's what I do. I put the stories that I hear from people, I turn it into a poem. It could be a lyrical poem too, but I listen to so much, and it's like I just had to let everything out on that one, and that's how it came out, like boom. But I be having fun writing. That's what I normally do. That I be on rap. What is it called? The Rap Fame app or Band Labs. I don't know how to use the Band Lab, John, like that. It's real good, but at least I'm trying, and I'm gonna try to get some more lyrical poems out there. If I can get somebody to work with me with the beats and all that, then hey, shit, we could probably do a whole album. Let's do this shit. Motivational music. But till next time, this is your shorty Rachel. I hope all of y'all have a blessed and humble day. Continue to have a blessed and humble evening, night, however y'all call it. I don't know. It could be morning in some places. But thank you to all those that have rocked out with a shorty, has been with a shorty. Yo, Commander has been throughout this whole John with a shorty. Like, shout out to Commander. Thank you so much. Do I got her as a mod? I think I do got you as a mod. Yeah. Yes, sir. All right. So till next time, let me get off this John, y'all, because I am 27 minutes late and I do want to catch the Selena lives. I think Double Speaks live. A couple of people is live right now. So let me get off this John and thank you to all those that supported the shorty and helped her bring awareness. Till next time.